What's good YouTube? It's your boy Nohok back with another tutorial, and today we're gonna go over how to flip an R&B sample into something a little bit more interesting with a little bit more bounce. I shaved and got it caught because it's the end of the summer, you know what I'm saying? And we going back to school looking clean. Anyways, the lesson today is to show y'all that it's okay to get inspired by other people's work without dipping into like plagiarism or AI generated stuff or straight up stealing other people's work, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you hear something interesting and it just instantly sparks a creative vessel. So I'll be showing you how I flip a sample made by Cavi.
Love only, baby, put it all on me. I just wanna hear it all for me. Oh, put your love on me, yeah.
I chose this sample for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's fire. I caught a vibe right away. And secondly, Cavi is probably one of the most famous producers on YouTube, so most people down here are familiar with the sound. Anyways, let's start breaking down the chords. I started with a very similar composition to the original loop, but different layering, different key, and with a different top melody. Now we got a chord progression in G minor with a G minor 7, followed by a D minor 7, going into a D sharp 9, and ending with a D minor 11. It's a fairly standard chord progression, but it works well with the sample. So the first layer of the chords is the softest keys from stage 73. On the mixer track, we got tape mellow 5, some chorus, and some EQing. For the second sound, we're using a marimba-like sound from Analog Lab 5. I have no effects on it. The last layer for the chords is a piano from Piano V3. Again, I've got no effects on it, very simple. And check these beautiful vocals out. Since the vocal loop was kind of the heart of the beat, I try to make the effects shine through in a way that doesn't really take away from someone that's trying to sing over this. So the first step was to just turn the formant down and adjust the retune speed with auto-tune to give it a more modern vibe. Then I added shaper box with some very slight time-based effects, barely noticeable honestly. I cut the highs from 5 kilohertz onwards to give it a little bit more of an underwater effect. I applied a high pass filter to get rid of the low end that I didn't really need. All that is being sent to my reverb send with Valhalla vintage verb on it. I've got the background melody and accents. For the background melody, I'm using a synth from Vital, just filling in the spaces between the chords and the vocal. I feel like a string instrument would have worked really well here as well. With the effects, we only got some panning and some reverb. The first accent we got is a synth one-shot that plays every 2 bars, but with different octave. For the effects, I'm using some heavy distortion with Fruity Fast Disc. Then I'm controlling the tone with an EQ. And lastly, we got some delay to make it a little bit more interesting. Alright, the last accent is this sort of Asian mandolin one-shot from a producer grind pack. Just got some light EQ on it. Alright, the drums are definitely one of the most interesting part of the beat, because the point was to switch to a less monotone and more danceable pattern. So the main rhythm carrier is the snare. We got a 3-layer snare right here. For a dancehall snare pattern, you usually always have them hitting at the 4 and the 3. And then the one after 2 bars, but I skipped that last part. Then we got the kick hitting hard between snares. But notice how it's not a 4 in the dot pattern. Because if I decided to do that, then it would have sounded like this. And not bad, but, you know, not the vibe I was going for. I did a conga for more bounce. And then, honestly, you gotta add at least 3 perks to fill up the bounce in a way that the average listener just can't really understand. I also added some open hats when the kick hits and a very low-key hi-hat pattern. Lastly, I added a high pass percussion loop for extra texture and a Latin perk loop, but it really only plays during the hooks. One trick I'm doing to add a little bit more punch to the kick is I'm mixing some parallel compression in. So I routed the same kick to a different mixer track right here with only RVux in it. RVux is conventionally used for vocals, but it's generally great for drums sometimes. I'm absolutely pushing it with RVux, as you can see, with the infinite gate and squashing the comp. But as you can see, I'm only blending a little bit of the kick back to the main kick sound. All right, let me show you the with and without comparison and the delta, which is the affected sound only. Alright, the last sound we got is a re-space. Alright, this one's coming from Analog Lab 5 and is the preset called Spider-Man 2099. Shout out Miguel. For the effects, we got an EQ cutting up the highs because they were a little bit too harsh. And we got back some of them highs with a fruity overdrive. After that, we got the sidechain with the Pro MB. And by the way, if you want to learn how to sidechain your kick to the bass using a multi-band compressor like this, I explained that in my last video, so go check it out. I'm gonna leave the link right here somewhere. And at the end of the chain, we got a limiter to control some of the peaks and give it a little boost. And that was it for today, guys. Hopefully you got a little bit more sauce and how to get that dancehall R&B sound, and I hope this video was useful. So please like, comment, and subscribe to support me if you want, and I'll leave you with a full beat. Peace.
Nohok on the beat.